Hi, I'm Alvina Ling.
And I'm Grace Lynn.
And we're book friends
Forever!
We're childhood friends
Who grew up to be
a children's book editor.
and an author and illustrator. Yay!
Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the Key Qualities for Success with Libby Koponen episode.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and YouTube at bookfriendsforever_podcast.
So as you can tell from those of you watching us on video or from our episode title, we have a special guest joining us today, Libby Koponen, our good and old friend. We're all here together recording.
And we're all here because Alvina and Grace were nice enough to come to celebrate my birthday. So thank you, friends. We've been friends for more than 25 years. I met Alvina when she liked my book and eventually published, after much work from both of us, Blow Out the Moon. We've been friends for a long time through many adventures, and my latest book is That the Bus?
Which is we have right here.
Yay, which we'll talk about.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about
And
later.
Libby has been a guest on our podcast before, and we've mentioned you many, many, many times. So I think longtime listeners will know exactly who you are. So we always start with catching up with each other's lives. So Grace, why don't you tell us how you've been doing?
Oh, okay. How have I been doing? I have been doing well. I drove up here yesterday, which was hard for me to do because I don't really like to drive, but I was willing to make the sacrifice because it's Libby's birthday, and we had a lovely evening last night for Libby's birthday. We ate at this place called Stone Acre Farm.
Stone Acres.
Stone Acres, and it's just been really nice catching up with both of you.
Yes.
How about
Libby? How have you been?
Oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that question. I have been taking the first real vacation that I've taken since I was grown up. I've been taking the first real vacation since I've been grown up. Not that I haven't goofed off many times, but this was a planned goof off. I've been seeing friends. A lot of my friends turned 75 this summer. I've been swimming. I've been making clothes. I should have worn one of the dresses I made. And thinking about ideas for books, which will be starting to be written when the vacation ends on Monday.
And I've been here to celebrate your 75th birthday. Well, Grace and I just recorded our last episode 3 days ago?
Yeah.
2 days ago on Wednesday. So since then, I'm officially on vacation. So we're recording this on Friday, July 25th. Yesterday, the 24th, was your 75th birthday. So I took the Amtrak up to Connecticut, to here in Stonington. And I always love train travel. So it was really nice just to be on a train. I napped, I did a little work, looked out the window at the water. And celebrating with you has been really wonderful. I feel like it's a nice tradition. I mean, we don't always gather for everyone's birthdays. But I think you mentioned that we had all gotten together, and including Anna Alter, who's not here, but we did gather for your 60th birthday, right?
Yes. And the four of us gathered for Grace's 50th birthday.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we took that trip to Bermuda that was celebrating my, Grace, and Anna's 50th birthday. So anyway, it's nice to celebrate together.
It was very special and fun for me.
So we thought this conversation came up actually the last time we were all together at Grace's house. Was this after the Carl?
It was after the Carl exhibit. Opening. Yeah.
So Grace, you brought up, and we are bringing up the author Neil Gaiman, not to condone at all what he's been under controversy, but we wanted to bring up this speech he had given a while ago. I think it was a keynote address. Oh, it was like a graduation commencement speech at the University of the Arts. But Grace, you remember hearing this quote by Neil, and it kind of started us to talk about this topic.
I actually having this conversation with one of my friends, Jarek Krasaska, and he was saying how he's the one who said, "Yeah, do you remember that? It's like that Neil Gaiman quote where like you only need 3 things to be a successful freelancer. You have to you only need 2 out of these 3 things to be a successful freelancer. You have to be easy to work with, you have to be really, really, really good, or you have to be really, really likable." And he's like,
No,
timely.
On time. Sorry.
On time.
Yeah, so the exact quote is, people keep working in a freelance world, and more of today's world is freelance because their work is good, and because they are easy to get along with, and because they deliver the work on time. And you don't even need all 3. 2 out of 3 is fine. People will tolerate how unpleasant you are if your work is good and you deliver it on time. They'll forgive the lateness of the work if it is good and if they like you. And you don't have to be as good as the others if you're on time, and it's always a pleasure to hear from you. So I think that's interesting to think about.
And I think it's a kind of true for freelance work in general, though I don't know if it's exactly true for being an author and an illustrator, like writing and illustrating.
I don't think it's true for writing and illustrating your own books, but I think I've been a freelancer. I've been a freelancer I was for more than 20 years, and I think for the kind of freelance writing work I did, it was definitely true.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the qualities are? Can you think of a scenario where it's like 3 qualities and you don't need all 3, but 2 of the 3 will make you a successful author or writer? Maybe, I guess if we're talking about longevity.
Well, I think that when we were talking about this earlier, it's what 3 qualities do you need to be a success, right? And I think the first thing we have to do is define what we think is success, right? And so for me, I was saying what success would be longevity. Would be like what are the 3 things you need to be able to keep making books forever and ever and ever and ever. So those are what I was thinking about. But you had a different. What's your definition of success?
My definition of success for me, and remember I'm 75, so this might be different, is writing books and getting them published that some people really, really, really love.
Yes.
And as Alvina quipped, even one person, but ideally
millions. Right. I mean, my philosophy as an editor has been that I want all the books that I edit to be some child's favorite book. But I did say it. But ideally, many children.
Millions of children.
Millions. And I guess, yeah, so I was thinking about this a little bit differently, because I think for me, its success as an editor is different. And, I think for me, it is also longevity. It's also like profitability, and keeping a job or being able to get continuous employment. I think that's my definition of success. And so for me, I did come up with 3, and I don't know if it's, anyway, video stuff. And maybe I'm cheating with mine, and it's similar a little bit to Neil's, is that I think if you're well-liked, you have good taste, and you're competent. And because I feel like if you're well-liked and you have good taste, you can survive for a long, maybe not forever, but you can survive without being super competent. Because if you have really good taste and you're able to acquire those books that then also become like bestsellers and award winners, then you are safe for a while, right? As a employee. If you're well-liked and you're competent, I think that also keeps you pretty secure, because people like to work with you and you do a good job. And if you don't have those hits, you might still be able to, maybe you will get past the projects that are, making money, and you can, kind of be secure for a while. And if you have good taste and you're competent, but you're not well-liked, I think you can be secure for a while, because you have the really high-selling books, ideally, and you do a good job, so people tolerate you if they don't like you. I don't know. I don't know if it's 100% true, because obviously if you have all 3, that's really how you ensure longevity, but that's what I came up with.
So that's interesting because for being an editor, it's slightly different. I mean, and maybe being well liked and being competent. And if you're a writer, the only judge of competence is how good your book is. But
Well, I mean,
You do have to be a competent writer, I think, for
Yeah.
longevity, right?
Well,
But you don't have to be like the best writer.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was thinking when I was saying like how the keys to being longevity, like it's a little bit like you could interpret that in two ways. You could be like, you have to have books that sell. You have to have books that are beloved, or something like that. So there's that. But I was thinking more about the qualities the author has to have in terms of like.
So what are the qualities?
Okay, so the things that I think you need as an author to be in it for the long haul, the qualities you need, not the book sales, but the qualities you need. I think you need purpose, you need luck, and you need hope. And I think purpose to me is the most important, because purpose is the thing that encompasses all the other things that push you forward. It's kind of like the shield that keeps you from despair. So I was saying how for a long time I felt like my purpose in books was to bring Asian books into the mainstream. And especially in the early part of my career, that's really hard, and so, but I felt so strongly about that purpose. It was fine that I wasn't getting good reviews, or if I got a bad review, or it'd be fine if the sales weren't that good. It was fine, like all those things, I could let them go because no, I still believe in getting these books out there. I still believe in making these books. And so that purpose was such a foundational trait to the rest of my career. Luck, luck is something out of your control, but that's something you would be really great to have. That if you don't have purpose but you have luck and hope, I think you can make it long term. And hope is really, really important too, because I feel like you need hope to keep your purpose alive. And so if you don't have hope that what you're doing is actually going to make an impact, then the purpose dies, and so.
Right. And hope also, if you don't have hope, then you give up. Some
Yes.
people give up, and then of course you're not going to make it.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. The hope is the thing that you need to keep you from getting off that bus,
Right.
So.
And we've talked about perseverance. We have talked about longevity, how to achieve longevity in the industry before, and one of the things we talked about is being able to pivot. And I feel like if you don't have hope, like you don't feel like, if you write YA, you don't feel like you could write picture books, then you're not going to pivot to picture books.
Yeah.
But if you kind of have hope that you can do it all, then you will be able to pivot.
So I feel like if you have hope and luck, because hope is the thing that it's the thing that gives you the chutzpah, right? It's the thing that's like, I can do it. I hope if you have hope and luck, and you get those two, I think you can have a long-term career, because you keep hoping I can do this, and and if you get lucky, if you have luck and purpose, that you can get it together. And if you have purpose and hope, you keep it together because you just keep going and going and going. It's basically all the traits you need to keep you from quitting. That's really what you need for longevity. The purpose, the traits to keep you from quitting.
All right, Libby, how about you? What did you?
Well, my purpose is different, but I think it still encompasses a lot of what you said, Grace, because if you don't have those things, if you wrote a book and nobody bought it, you would give up. But I think for me, to write a book that some people will really love and it will get published, I need to feel, this is a hard thing to find a word for, but some kind of, I don't know whether to call it spark or inspiration or deep emotional attachment, but something unreasoning inside me that just feels really strongly, this is worth saying, it's important, and that's really the nub of it and the heart of it. But I think you need luck for that idea to connect with other people, because if a book doesn't connect emotionally with other people, it's nothing, and they're not going to.
I don't know if you need luck to connect to other people, though, right? If it's something connects to yourself,
you need luck to get it published. I mean,
Right.
if you're not an established writer, no matter how good the book is, you're going to need some luck
Right.
to get an editor to read it and then buy it. I mean, we don't like to think that. We like to think that every good book finds a home, but I think we can all think of good books that haven't found a home. Maybe because it's not at the right time. I mean,
So what is the third thing, do you think?
So wait, what was the first? The first one was emotion.
well, it's not, emotion isn't the
A
right
spark
word.
or inspiration or a spark?
A spark that touches something important in
Okay.
you, something important to say. And I don't know what to.
So it's a little bit similar to purpose.
Yeah, you could call it purpose. I mean,
But creative purpose,
the
maybe.
creative purpose, the emotional and a creative purpose or an emotional purpose.
So I want to ask both of you, because you both said luck. So we know, yes, luck plays a huge part, but like in the Neil example, there were 3 things that are within your control.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we're just talking about things that are within our control, can you think of?
Well, I think discipline maybe is also encompassed by purpose, but having the
So like a hard work ethic.
there was a period of 11 years when I didn't get anything published, and I still kept writing. And I think that what you call purpose was a big part of that. I mean, that it's so hard to articulate these things.
Yeah.
But so how the luck comes into it, to give an example, I was getting very discouraged, and I wrote an adult novel because I felt that I couldn't get my children's work published. And then a friend said, well, Libby, just because something didn't sell once doesn't mean it's never going to sell. Why don't you look at some of your old stuff? And so I took a manuscript that I had written in 2008, and in 2023, and in 2008, nobody had wanted it. In 2023, I sent it to 2 publishers. One of them bought it. And that's luck. I mean, it was luck that...
But
I mean, you could say it was a wonderful book, which I happen to think it is. But
it's luck, but it's also the fact that you sent it.
Yes.
So I don't know, because I was trying to think of the ones in your control. I was like thinking like taking opportunities, what is that, like, it's the...
Well, like
you could even call it grit, of saying, I made this thing, and I believe in it, and I'm going to keep going. And maybe those are my 3 things, that the spark to make the thing, the grit and determination to finish it and make it as good as you can possibly make it, and then the hope or confidence to send it out into the world and keep doing that. So I guess those are my 3.
I think the thing that makes it, like, the reason why I used hope versus grit is because I feel like to make it long term in this business, you can't get bitter.
Sure. Oh, that's a really good point.
And so if it's just purpose and grit,
you could get sour.
You get sour, and I feel like
But you can still have longevity.
You still have longevity,
but you want to have a happy life.
But that's not what I consider success, though.
Yeah.
I guess for me, success is a long, happy career.
Yes, that's true.
So
I think the truth is, successful people ideally do have all of these qualities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't have to try to force them into this 2 out of 3 construct necessarily. But it was fun to think about.
But it's kind of fun to think about it that way.
Yeah.
The hope is important, and and maybe confidence is the same thing. But a confidence that that what you have to say, people are going to get something out of. That it's going to mean something to them. It's going to be important to them. They're going to enjoy it. I mean, it's a 2-way process when you write a book.
Yeah.
I mean, and at least I know that when my first book came out, I had never really even thought about the reactions people would have. And it was so surprising.
Really?
When people got it. And it was just, they hadn't even, for me, it was all about expressing something that I just passionately wanted to express, and then to have other people understand it and get it. Not that everyone did, but those who did, it was an amazing, validating feeling of being understood and gotten.
So maybe that's interesting because writing, there's so many different kinds of different writers, and so many writers write just for the pure expression. And I was talking about this, I think, to Matthew Winter on an interview that I did with him, and I was saying how, you know, there's the Emily Dickinsons of the world who, it's like they're writing, but they don't really share their work during their lifetime, you know, because I assume their joy is the actual expression. But for me, it has always been the sharing of that story. So I always think, because I thought it was fascinating, you said, I didn't think about how it would affect people. Like, I'm always thinking about that. And I'm always thinking about, like, oh, I hope, like, I think kids will like this. You know, like, it's not even kids will like this. It's kind of like, I'm always thinking about how this story is going to be shared, you know, like.
Now I am.
Oh.
Now I am. I mean, that, you know, I've changed a lot, particularly from, you know, when I was down on my luck, I did a lot of babysitting, and it was fascinating to see how the children responded to the books. And now I volunteer at Head Start sometimes, and it's much more about, I want to express something, but it's only half done if what I've expressed doesn't touch something in the readers.
But I feel like that's something that's changed, at least for me. Like, I remember early in my career, like, there's so many things that authors would say, and I remember in the early part of my career, the correct thing for authors to say is, like, I wasn't thinking about my audience. I was it was the very Maurice Sendak, like, I let the editors decide what's good and what's not good, and like who's for, but I write for me, you know, like, that was like there's certain, like, things. And I remember being like, oh, okay, like, that's what because that was it was like more pure. It was more like they were more of an artist. And it took me a long time to be like, well, I think of my audience.
There doesn't have to be one way of doing it. And I think one reason, I mean, I was 54 years old when I got my first book published, and I had written in isolation for such a long time. And when I was 49, I thought, Libby, what are you waiting for? Your next life? You know, you're almost 50. And I also have ADHD, so thinking ahead isn't really my strong suit in life. I mean, it was a lot to get it written, but, you know, of course I wanted to get it published. I mean, I wouldn't, but I'm saying that it came as a surprise to me that people would react to it, and I would know how they reacted, and it would sometimes be gratifying, and it would sometimes be deeply hurtful. I mean, I remember reading a blog, which shall be nameless, about my book, and they just made so much fun of it, and they were saying things like "ooby gooby," you know, and were just so mean, and I just remember sobbing, and you know. So that's and I think anyone, I'm sorry if this is veering off topic, but we can take it out later, but anyone who puts themselves out there to write, even if they don't consciously realize it, if you're a writer, you have a very thin skin.
Yeah.
And when people don't get it and say mean things about you, you know what? Courage, I think, is another thing.
I was going to say.
You need, if you're going to do anything and put it out there, you need courage, and you need to have, it's not that you don't care, but you need to find a way.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's grit. I think it's courage.
Courage.
Yeah, I think it's like purpose, courage, and
hope. I would go along with
But
that.
I think you can do without courage if you just have a really strong
sense of purpose
or confidence
Yeah.
Where even if people don't like what you're putting out, you're like, that doesn't care. That doesn't matter to me. Like, I know it's good, or I did it for myself. I don't know.
I can't imagine being that confident, but maybe some people are.
Well, it's not so much confident. I think in terms of purpose, it's like, it's not like I don't care, but like I feel so strongly about what I'm doing
Right.
that I must do this.
Well, it's kind of like in dating, right? Like when you are actively dating, you get rejected more than you get accepted. That's just the nature. But you just are looking for that one person who sees you and loves you for who you are.
Yeah.
But in dating, if you keep getting rejected, you lose confidence. You lose confidence or feel like, I'm not good enough for anyone. I'm not going to find anyone. But if you have a strong sense of self and you're confident in who you are, then, and this is how I was in dating, is I just know they're not my person. They're not the right person for me. I'm not the right person for them. But that person is out there. So I do think there's a little bit of a similar, like, again, I guess that goes back to I want at least one child to love every book I publish. I want one child for that book to be their favorite book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel that way too, and I have to love it. I mean,
Yes.
and if I really love it, and then if other people don't like it, I can just think now, but I couldn't
Before
think, well, it's a good book, and they're just not a good reader.
Right. Well, and that's how, Grace, I know when you've often said, I want to write the best book where I, work hard and feel like I'm happy with this book.
Yeah. I always talk about like books that I feel are what I call review proof, which are books that I love so much. Like I felt this way about A Big Moon Cake for a Little Star, a book that I love so much that I don't care what the reviewers say, and like that, like even if they don't like it, I'm like, too bad. Like I love it and I think it's wonderful, and I wish I wish every book I did was like that, but I would be lying if I said that was true. but every once in a while, I feel like I'll make a book where I feel like that. I'm like, this book, I know in my soul, it's really good. It's the best I can do, and it's just a really good book.
Yes.
Like.
So it's kind of like loving yourself and loving the book.
Yeah.
and feeling that you did the very best you could, and that is a very satisfying feeling.
Yes. All right. Is there anything else we want to say about this topic?
Well, I think it's interesting because those are the traits that you need to make it for traits as an author. But I was like, but to have a long-term career for a book, like to be, you just need to have really good sales.
And that's where the luck comes in.
Yeah, you just need really good sales and really good. I feel like you could do two tracks. It could be like really good sales or really prestigious awards. I feel like that's
And I think both as an author and as an editor, if you are prolific, then you have more chances of having longevity. Because as an author, we talked about there's hardly any author that we can think of that hasn't written a book that we haven't liked, right? Or that hasn't have at least one book that we think is maybe not great or not the best.
Like one clunker.
Right. But if they are writing and there could be, I don't know, like Louisa May Alcott wrote, I don't know how many books she wrote, and maybe like half of them are beloved and half of them are
more than half are complete trash.
Gone.
She wrote a lot of melodrama
Right.
for adults that nobody
So,
even reads.
It's like
Jack and Jill is not usually a beloved book now at kids'
that's
book.
my favorite. But yes,
You haven't read it in a long time.
no, it's true. It's true. I want to reread it and see if I still love it. But yeah, so and the same with publishing. So as an editor, I love every single book that I edit and acquire, but probably, if I'm lucky, half of them are still in print and selling. And I think most publishers are, I don't know exactly, but it seems that only 50% of books are profitable. And a lot of the books are like right on that line. So really it is just, maybe it's like the top 5 or 10% that are really profitable and are kind of like supporting the whole rest of the 90% of the list. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, just one more thing, because we were talking about this before about what we think makes a good book, like the 2 out of the 3 2 out of the 3 traits that make a good book to us. And I was saying, I think to make a good book, 2 out of 3, it has to have heart, be really well written / clever, or unique. Like, and so you can have 2 of the 3,
Right.
and it would make it a really good book. So if it's clever and heart, but the truth is, it's kind of what we were saying earlier about purpose. I feel like heart can, if it has a lot of heart, it can overcome even not that unique and not that and not that clever. But if
true.
you have 2,
It definitely needs at least one of 3.
yeah, but it needs one of those 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's
And-
something we think about
Yeah.
when we acquire
And by
books.
heart, I think we also mean sincerity. I mean, that something that just feels true
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the author and to the reader. And it doesn't have to be literally true, but it has to feel true.
And that's why
to
we're
you.
talking about Little Women, because
Yeah.
I reread Little Women recently, and I was like, this is not really well written. There's all these like, now children, be nice to spinster ladies, and you're like,
But it
what
doesn't
is-
matter.
But it doesn't matter because it has so much heart.
But I have not read it in a while. But I do think that is true to Marmie's character. That
No,
was
the
who she
narrator
was.
comes in.
Oh, the narrator says
because
that.
remember spinster ladies and kind to them.
Like she'll like have these like this. The narrator will
There
come
are many
in.
women like Nan, busy, cheerful spinsters,
Yes.
tending their goldfish.
And you're like, what is this?
Maybe I need to reread. Sometimes I don't like to reread the classic Ceylon.
I've reread that, and every time I read it, when I get to the chapter "Dark Days," I'm just sobbing my head off, and it's so
It has heart.
true.
It has so much heart.
It has so much heart, and it's so girls are so real, and it's so true to life.
So maybe it's just about like, if it has so much heart, it can it doesn't matter. Like you could, and if you have so much cleverness, maybe it doesn't matter if it has so much
What's
heart.
a book that has so much cleverness?
The book with no pictures.
Yeah, that's really clever.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to have.
I mean, I don't. Maybe it has heart.
Doesn't
I
it-
haven't read it in a while, but I think it's mostly just
It's
clever.
just really clever.
Yeah, it's a
like-
clever concept.
Yeah, it's something.
And
really-
it's well written.
yes,
You know.
but it's also unique too. So
Yeah.
unique as well.
So it has a 2 of the 3.
yeah.
That's true.
So
All right. So for our fortune cookie segment, we thought we would combine it with the Tell Me About segment. And since Libby is our guest, Libby, will you tell us about your most recent book? Is that the bus?
Thank you. Well, this is the book I
Here, why
was
don't
talking.
you move this is a little closer so they can get a real good picture of it.
This is the book I was talking about earlier that I wrote in 2008 and then submitted in 2023. And it has a happy ending. It won the Margaret Wise Brown Board Book Silver Medal. And one thing that I love about this book is that children and adults look at it really differently. Like, the book is about a little boy, and he keeps saying every time he hears a noise in the background, "Is that the bus?" And then,
No.
but it's not the bus. Bam, boom, the garbage is gone. And throughout the book, he's playing different things and hearing different noises, and it's never the bus. And what small children like about the book is either the trucks or the noises. They just like,
Or
going-
both.
or both, or eep, eep, or whatever the noise is. They love it. And then there's a moment in the book when, wait, can you get to when it is the bus? But it is the bus, and you turn the page, and when I
Aww.
and that's exactly what adults always do at that moment. They go, ah, and it leaves the children absolutely stone cold on a first reading. They don't react to it at all. But a friend of mine said that her granddaughter, who's 6, kept every time she came over, and she only had the book because she's my friend. She didn't even think her granddaughter would like it, but she read it to her. And she said that every time her grandchild came over, she would take the book and read it to herself. And Tony was thinking to herself, why? Why? And finally one day, the little girl said to her grandmother, "I wish I had a big sister."
Aww.
And that's, I think that a book that I can write and believe in has a lot of levels, and it says different things to different people. And when when children come back to the book, they see different things at different times. And my friends who have given it to their grandchildren or children, I have some younger friends, comment that the book is sticky.
Yeah.
Because they just read it over and over. And that's, maybe when I was first writing, it was expressing, but it's hard to describe how happy it makes you when children love a book, when it connects with children and they read it over and over and over again. It's absolutely the best thing about being a children's book author, because I don't know that since my adult book will never be published, I'll never find out, but I don't know that
Don't say that, have hope.
I have hope, but I don't know that adult authors ever get that kind of, maybe they do, but
I think they do.
you think they do, but it's just...
But it's different because adults aren't as exuberant.
Exactly.
I mean, kids are just exuberant,
Yes.
and when they love it, they tell you with their whole soul they love it,
Although, think about those Twilight fans who are middle-aged women. They love that book with their whole soul.
That's true. That's true.
But I think over Christmas I went to see the play of Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember what it was called. It
Cursed Child, right? Right?
No,
not the
it was
musical.
Whatever it was.
Okay.
It wasn't a musical, and I just remember being in the theater and seeing so many people so passionate about these characters. And it wasn't even a good play, but the people were so real to them.
Yeah.
And it's just very, very, very deeply satisfying to make something. And you've had this happen over and over because you've written so many books that people love. And that must be...
Yeah, I think, the kids often ask me, what's the best thing about being an author? And I'm like, honestly, the best thing about being an author is this, like when what I've written in isolation is actually reaching out and connecting to you. That's really the best thing. And
Yep.
it kind of, that's why I was saying, it's a real change for me to admit that, because early on it was like, it's the expression. There's so many things that I feel like early on were seemed like the right answer, and the expression was the right answer. But now I don't care, and I say the truth. It's I like that my works and the images, the story that I'm thinking in my head actually reaches to you and brings you someplace.
I agree, and I never even imagined what that was like until it happened, because writing for me, I'm a slow writer. It takes so long. It happens in so much isolation, and I never thought of it until this conversation. But a book and meeting your readers is like the meeting of your isolation and other people, and they come together in one thing. And for me, the isolation part of it at times is amazing, because you're just in this world of you and the thing that you're trying to write.
You're in flow.
You're in flow, and that's a very seductive magic state. And those of us who do manage to write books and get them published and connect to our readers have the best of both. I mean, we get to be in flow. I mean, not that writing is always in flow. Often it's not at all, but we get to have that. And we get to see children's faces. Even I was at a school visit, and I said to the kids, you may be too old. I told you guys this yesterday. You may be too old for this book. And someone drew himself up and said, yes, I'm 7. And someone else said, I'm 7. And someone else said,
I'm 6.5.
I'm almost 7. And the teacher said, there's no need for everyone to tell Libby how old they are.
But just to go back really quickly to the idea of connecting, it's that's in Stephen King's On Writing, where he's got this section. He's like, writing is kind of like this time travel / telepathy. He's like, I'm in front of me, there's a red cup. I'm going to drink out of it. It's like, you are reading this years and years in the future, but you are thinking about me drinking drinking from this red cup. You're thinking about this red cup that I'm describing to you. It's like, it is the closest that we have right now to time travel, to telepathy in the future, you know, like to reaching people. So like I think that's one of the beauties of writing and being a writer.
Yeah. So that was is that the Bus by Libby Koponen, illustrated by Katie Mazeka. Mazeka. It's a great book. It has heart, it has cleverness, and it has unique. Oh wait, what was the second one?
Uniqueness. Yes.
Yeah.
Heart, cleverness, or unique.
Yes.
It has all three.
All right.
Thank you. Yay, thank you.
So now we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. Grace, what are you grateful for?
I was afraid you were going to do me first.
I can go first.
Okay, why don't you go first?
I was just going to say, since we're here together, that I am grateful for old friends. Friends that I've known, well, Grace I've known for 41 years, and Libby I've known for over 26 years, or maybe around 26 years.
Around 26 years.
Yes. Libby, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful that Grace and Alvina came here for my birthday, and we had such a great catch-up.
Yes. Lots of scintillating discussions.
Yes, it's always lots of laughs, inspiration, fun, and emotional connection.
Grace.
I'm grateful for coconut cake, and I'm grateful for carrot cake.
Yes.
I'm grateful for the fact that we live in a time, because what we did for Libby's birthday was that we ordered her a carrot cake.
A gluten-free
carrot cake from like a gourmet one from Goldbelly, and it came in the mail, and we had it yesterday. It was delicious.
It was really delicious.
That we live in a time now where we can do that, you know, like that's something that we couldn't do before, like where we could have these kind of really convenient luxuries. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that we were able to celebrate eating your favorite carrot cake for your birthday.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right, and that was the Key Qualities for Success with Libby Koponen episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Paceyworks Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
And tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, bookfriendsforever.com. And please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes. We've done this like a million zillion times, but I still have to read it.
Yes. I'm Alvina Ling, and you can find me at Planet Alvina on TikTok and at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. Libby, where can people find you?
At LibbyKoponen.com, and Koponen is Koponen.
And people can find me at Pacey Lynn on Instagram and Threads, and author Grace Lynn on Facebook, and Grace Lynn author on TikTok.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read. Bye.
Bye.